Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, actually in Texas right now. I'm using my Texas mucks. I'm heading home today, actually tonight. And today we're going to talk about building a resilient food and beverage business or company in order to supersize and grow your business. Now, I spent from the early 1980s until 2016 owning, operating, and managing and supersizing an Italian food manufacturing business. So I was in the industry way before technology and things came into play and automations and things till 2016 when we were just starting to automate and do different things. Part of my divorce was to divest myself of that business. So, and it was time, well, almost 3+ decades was long enough to be in that particular industry, at least for me. But I took from that many, many lessons learned that I've applied to working with other people and other businesses. I've applied them to other businesses and other industries. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about the absolute positive things that make a difference for any type of business, not just for a food and beverage industry, but I'll share in some examples from that particular industry because they apply to so many others and they were tremendous lifelong lessons learned. The number one thing is you have to build on a strong foundation, but before that even, you have to be resilient. You have to be willing to innovate, get creative, be flexible, solve problems, keep moving forward no matter what, because there are so many things that can happen in any business, but especially in a business that's so dependent on other things. Supply chain interruptions and disruptions are really, really common in the food and beverage industry. They're common since COVID pandemic in a lot of industries, but prior to that, the food industry is one that's rampant with geopolitical disruptions, with supply chain disruptions, with natural disasters. If there's a flood in an area that grows your raw material or ingredients, you may not get those, and you have to be willing to tweak your recipes, not only based on consumer preferences, which also change all the time, right? People change what they like, what they don't like, where they eat, what they don't eat. I mean, there never used to be certain industries that exist now. Think fast casual dining. 25 years ago, there wasn't really any fast casual dining. Maybe it's longer than that. Could be longer than that. But the number one thing that you have to be in any business and in any area of your life actually is resilient, willing to learn from things that don't go your way, be flexible in solving that problem and coming up with a solution that you can apply and learn from and use. That I would say resiliency is the number one thing, sticking to it, knowing that stuff's going to happen and you're going to figure it out. You always figure it out, right? Do you always come up with the best solution the first time? Probably not. At least I didn't. Sometimes we had to try things 5 and 6 times before they worked. But we need to embrace change, embrace innovation, embrace problem-solving creativity and challenges, and learn from them and build on them like stepping stones to grow and build and supersize our business in any industry. Navigating supply chain was probably, besides human beings and human resources, one of the biggest challenges in the food and beverage industry. Also, customer experience. There is no business that is more important when it comes to a customer experience, I think, than food and beverage, because if we don't establish ourselves and have a loyal following of customers, if we don't have a strong brand identity, if they don't know what they can expect from us, they'll go to someone else, because there's always a new opportunity to eat coming up every day, right? We usually eat 3+ times a day. And sometimes we eat out, sometimes we don't. I'm not talking just restaurants. I'm talking any choice, because it's grocery stores are a choice, restaurants are a choice, food carts are a choice. Food carts have been around for a long time, but they're really, really popular now. Adapting to changing consumer preferences is one that I continually did research and development and tested new flavors. We had our core products, our foundational products that we offered all the time, but based on the seasons, based on people's changing eating habits and preferences, we would offer different varieties, different products, and we were always working on product development to make sure that we were adapting to what people wanted and what their changes were. How did we know? We asked them. We had ongoing conversations with our lifelong loyal customers and with our hopeful customers. We did a lot of store demos and things back in the day. We also, one of the things I just mentioned a little bit ago was employee and human resources. I was really, I think, am so grateful and so fortunate to be involved in that industry and business when I was. It was before the pandemic, which was a huge hit to so many people that I know and so many businesses in the food and beverage sector in particular. If they didn't adapt, if they didn't figure it out, if they didn't add an online or a customer pickup and delivery system, most of them went out of business. If they weren't willing to innovate and figure it out, then they shuttered their doors and went out of business. Millions of businesses went out of business during the pandemic. I don't know that we hear about that very often, but I always took good care of my employees, and they took very good care of my business and me and my family. I only ever had to let one person go, and it was sort of a mutual decision because they just weren't a fit. And I thought we had our processes and systems such that anybody could do what we did, because we broke it down into little pieces and we put people where it was the best fit. But one person just, it wasn't right for their disposition. And we parted ways amicably. And it wasn't actually until probably 2016, where I actually had somebody just not show up for work and quit. They quit and they never showed up for work again. They got a better job. Well, great. Just tell us, right? I would have congratulated you and bought you a cake. So things like that happen, and you just have to roll with it. You learn especially I've learned in manufacturing, that you have to be willing to flow to the work. And depending on the environment, in corporate, I learned that in some organizations we have lots of unions and you're not allowed to flow to the work. But in the businesses that I've ever run, that's just an expectation. You do what you can to pitch in and help wherever it's needed, when it's needed. And if you have that culture built, then everything runs more smoothly. Everybody helps everybody out and everybody learns from one another. The other thing I would say that's critical to businesses, and I'm not sure people talk about it enough, is documenting your processes. We were very highly regulated. We were a USDA manufacturing facility. So every day the USDA inspectors were in. And as part of that, you write down and document all of your processes and procedures. You have key checks for certain things like temperatures of coolers and freezers, sanitation, swabbing, and things. And you just automatically do those things, but you document how you do those things. So when new people come in, it's easy to train them. And you review those processes at least annually or whenever there's a change in your business. And building on that solid foundation that we built the business on, coming from manufacturing and quality improvement, and quality has always been my thing. It was easy to make sure that we documented our processes. I don't know that people tell you when you're starting a business, hey, from the very beginning, write down how you do things. It's just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Draw a little flow chart, but start to communicate it so that as your business grows, your documented processes and procedures grow. Because the secret is, when you go to sell that business, if you've got that all documented, someone else can step into your shoes and take over that business and be very, very successful. I think more and more people need to realize and know that. And I'm not sure everybody tells you that. I think sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just say, buy my system and apply it. Not always the best process, depending on what your business is. So invest and take care of your employees. Have a great culture. I think we had an awesome culture in that particular business and industry because we decided together what was and wasn't okay in terms of topic of conversation, in terms of cell phones. When cell phones weren't a thing when we started the business, but they became a thing. It was just, no, your cell phone stays in the break room. It doesn't come in. Well, one, you can't have it on the manufacturing floor when it comes to FDA and USDA and departments of agriculture. There's rules and guidelines. No jewelry. I didn't wear jewelry for like 3.5 decades. But we want to remember to leverage technology as well as creating a resilient financial plan. You have to have a financial plan because stuff happens in that industry, and stuff has happened during that industry that affected us and our finances. And so we always made sure we had a solid plan or a backup plan in case something came up that we needed. You need a new piece of manufacturing equipment. You need a new freezer. You need a new delivery vehicle, whatever it might be. So love to know about your industry and how resilience plays into that. And I'm really curious, do you have your processes and procedures documented, and not just for operations, manufacturing, all of them? Share in the comments below. All right. Have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.